Hello everyone, it's Jamal Thomas. Welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. Let's have a 420. I have an interesting video, I think. It may start some arguments, so let's do it. Let me check my video first. While I check my audio, blaze one. If you got one, I understand it's 6:30 in the morning, but hey, it's Saturday. Hopefully you don't have anything to do or anywhere to go. And hopefully you're in a legal weed state, and even if you're not, fuck it, blaze one if you got one. I'm going to make an argument. I'm going to make a case. And tell me if I'm right, tell me if I'm wrong, but god damn it, I'm going to make the case. Kathryn Janeway, Kathryn Janeway is the best captain of all of the captains in the Starfleet universe that we've come across. Kathryn Janeway doesn't necessarily usually get credit like this, but I am giving it to her because I think she's earned it. And I think I can make this case, and I can make this case stick. This has nothing at all to do with Kathryn Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, giving accolades to Ocasio-Cortez. Nothing to do with that at all. This has everything to do with me at 6 in the morning feeling like, God damn it, Kathryn Janeway has not gotten the credit that she deserves in the Starfleet universe. And so I, Jamal Thomas, will be the one to give her that credit. And I am going to make this argument. And I'm going to tell everyone else that's making a counter argument going after her that they can fuck off. I will make the case. I will be the voice of the voiceless. Kathryn Janeway is the best captain in the Star Trek universe. I will repeat. Kathryn Janeway is the best captain in the Starfleet universe. When I think about this idea of good, bad, best, better, and comparison of the captains, you have to have some kind of standard by which to measure them by. Otherwise, this question becomes somewhat moot. I don't ask the question from the standpoint of views. I don't know what those are from the standpoint of from the comparisons between the shows. I'm asking this from the standpoint of as they function within the Star Trek universe, which one is best? And I'm using best in an almost total measure of best. The totality of what it means to be a captain, the captainness of a captain. I find her to be best. If there are two people both play chess, one guy has been in a tournament and that guy has a rating. Let's say he's rated 2100. This other guy is an amazing player, but he has not been rated. Who's the better? The guy who has the 2100 is better because that guy has been tested. Now, regardless of whether or not this guy can kick this guy's ass, is kind of besides the point. Between the two, this guy has a measure. This guy has been through the fire and through tournaments. And this guy has been able to demonstrate a certain mastery of the game, where he was bestowed upon this rating by an agency outside of itself that's giving these accolades. This other guy has a bunch of people in a barbershop saying that he's pretty good. You go with the guy who knows what he's doing. I say that to say that using this challenge and this measure of who's good, better, best in the Star Trek universe, oftentimes people are measuring things for the most part of, I like Picard's bald head. I like that Sisko was able to be cutthroat when he was essentially trying to protect the Federation. I like Captain Kirk because he can sleep with green chicks and he's multicultural in the way he goes about it, having sex. There are all sorts of reasons that they give for liking one captain over the next. And even in these schoolyard brawls that we have talking about the subject, it's the same thing. It's usually some bias that we have for a particular captain. And that bias leads us to find some metric, some measure, something where we hang our hat on and say, yes, this guy's better. This person is better than that other person. God damn it, I know I'm right. This measure gives me what I need to say that this person is somehow objectively better than the other. I think it's all nonsense. I think the one measure that you go with is objectivity. And I understand that I've said before that objectivity doesn't exist. But from this, what I mean is objectivity meaning being tested. Kind of like a U.S. Chess Federation rating. Being tested. Fact of it is, Janeway is the only one that's been tested. And what I mean by tested is put through the ringer in a way that goes well beyond anything that any of the other captains had experienced or will experience in the rest of their time doing that job. Janeway was flung into the Delta Quadrant. She was flung from her family, from her friends, from everything that she had known and loved, and had to deal with the loss of being one ship in a hostile universe by herself. Whatever Sisko and Picard and Discovery, whatever these ships go through, they've done nothing like that. Meaning that from the standpoint of this thing of mastery and this thing of this thing of putting through paces and trying to understand what makes a person what they are and what are they willing to do when necessary, when that particular situation comes up. She's the only one that's taken the test. The other ones haven't even entered class. Human beings are like water in a cup. Meaning, to some degree, I can only know what's in you until you've been hit in a way, the way I can see what comes out of you. I agree that Picard, Sisko, they did go through things. And yeah, they had to make tough decisions. Sisko being somewhat cutthroat, killing a crew in order to get the Romulans into the war. Hey, maybe you say that's a good captain. Maybe it is. That's not bad. Sisko fighting in a war. Same thing. That's not bad. He's fighting a war. That's a big fucking deal. He may die in that war. He has friends that died in that war. Millions of people died in that war. Picard being turned into a Borg. It's pretty bad. I'm not taking away from what these captains have been through and some of the decisions that they made. And look, I like all of them. So, no harm. But none of that really compares to being flung into another society or another world, galaxy, on your own, just your ship, having to make do with the crew and engaging with that crew from the standpoint as a mother at times, as a friend at others, as a mentor at others. Janeway had to do it all, and she had to do it in a way where her femininity was being leveraged in some of these cases in order to get the effect that she needed. And I would make to the point that in many cases, I don't think, or at the very least, I think that level of flexibility is difficult to evoke in a man. It was a plus in her character. And it was a plus in the way she played the character. Some of the decisions that she had to make and things that she had to go through, in some cases, dealing with the Borg. If you remember when Picard dealt with the Borg, Picard was engaging the Borg in the sense of Q punishing Picard for being uppity. I don't know if people remember this, but Picard was telling Q, mouthing off to Q, that he could essentially handle himself in space, that man will figure this shit out. And Q flung him into a far-flung part of the galaxy in which Picard encountered the Borg. The Borg hunted Picard down, wore down his shields, and was going to essentially assimilate the crew, where Picard falls to his knees, his bald head gleaming in the sunlight, begging Q, please stop it. I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm Patrick Stewart and I'm sorry. I was being an uppity man and I didn't know what I was saying. And Q, being benevolent in that moment, took them back to where they were. Now, I say that to say how groveling Picard had to become in order to save his ship. Janeway didn't have that luxury of having of having a Q. She had to do it on her own. She encountered the Q herself. She encountered the Borg herself. She didn't grovel. She got her ship through. At one point she was assimilated, but at the end of the day, got her ship through. I'm trying to say that she's encountered so many of these things and she's had to do it all on her own. If that's not a test, I don't know what is. Of her ability to captain, her ability to leverage what it is to be a Starfleet officer, maintain the integrity of what it means to be a Starfleet officer, while at the same token dealing with these moral and philosophical qualms, this idea of what it means to be a person standing with the doctor. I think that was a bad choice, but nevertheless, she made the choice. She got her ship through again. Being taken over by a species that just likes to fight. And use the holodeck as this battle royale while the doctor would essentially put them back together after they were being essentially slaughtered. Again, she got her ship through. Mentoring 7 of 9, essentially a Borg who was lost to humanity. And Janeway, housebreaking 7 of 9. She was an immaculate character. And a lot of the times she don't necessarily get the credit she deserves. Q understood how awesome Janeway was. Q wanted to put a baby in her. If people remember, this being that toyed with Picard wanted to have sex with Kathryn Janeway. Q, I forget the exact moment for this. I think he wanted to shake up the continuum. But ultimately, Q ends up trying to be seductive and tries to have sex with Janeway. He wanted to put a baby in Janeway. And he wanted her to have his child. An omnipotent being wanted Janeway to have his child. And Janeway, full of pride and dignity and a little bit of sexual repression, said no. She told an omnipotent being no. Picard never told Q no like that. Just saying. Look, the point I'm making here is people always take shots at Janeway as if her character wasn't best. I am making the point that if you're talking about an objective measure of a captain, where you can actually see what's in the captain, what the captain is worth, what is the captain willing to do, and how is the captain willing to do, attending to a standard, Janeway is your person. None of them have come close to ever being tested to the degree that Janeway has come out being tested. And she has come out, yes, fractured, yes, hurt as a character, by the same token resilient. And she's brought her crew with her. Yes, this is somewhat of an ode to Janeway. She's earned it. Let me know at the bottom what you think. Am I wrong on this? I mean, how do you know what's in a person if the person is not necessarily tested to see what's actually in the person? And of all the captains, if you're looking for tested and coming out smelling like a rose, Janeway's your person. Picard may be awesome. Cisco may be awesome. All of them may be awesome. I have no way to know that based on the standard to which Janeway has achieved. When I'm saying she is the best captain, I'm saying she's the best captain because she has been tested in a way that none of the other captains have been tested. I don't know what's in those captains because they have never stood for the test. Janeway has. And she's come out smelling like a rose. Fucking A, Janeway. Let me know what you think at the bottom. Alright guys, thank you.